1 second, guys. Just want to check we're definitely live. Yep, we're definitely live there. We're live on here. Yep, we're live there as well. Be a slight delay, as I said, guys. I think we're almost sorted. So yeah, that 10-minute wait, guys. So looks like we're all good now. Okay, so my sincere apologies. Literally 1 minute before I was about to go live, before I was about to switch over, the camera froze. And as you guys know, when the camera freezes, everything has to stop, and I have to turn off the live stream, and I have to edit everything. This is actually the worst live stream for it to happen, because it takes a lot. I have to copy and paste all the information over. And as we're doing Prime Minister's questions on top of the Good Morning Show, yeah. So apologies for the long wait, guys. So I do apologize for that. And I was literally doing work in the run up to before I even went live as well. So that's why I wasn't on either live streams. I'm hoping I'll be on Davey's show tomorrow. I will be watching Davey's show tomorrow, because I've just been too much going on here. But let me start properly. Welcome everyone to the Good Morning Show plus Prime Minister's questions with myself, Reganelite, here, starting very late here at 10 past 11 here on Wednesday the 4th of March. Yeah, Wednesday the 4th of March here as well. I hope you guys are all doing well. Again, apologies for that delay. Let me just say hello to everyone in the chat. Viper Scott, CC Mac, Indie Duck, Mel, Ellie, Person Impersonator, Billy Kershaw, Sarah Davis, Christina, Scott Hayes. I think that's everyone who said hello there. Hope you guys are all doing well there. Right, let's just get started, because we're already 10 minutes late, guys. So here is today's daily quota. Here it is here from Abraham Lincoln. This one here is from Abraham Lincoln there from today's quote. And it is: and in the end, it is not the years in your life that counts, it's the life in your years. And in the end, it is not the years in your life that counts, it's the life in your years. And that is a quote by Abraham Lincoln. That one is there. Tomorrow's one is the nicest and most simplest of quotes that I'll be getting to read to you guys tomorrow. That makes a nice change there as well. Martin, good to see you there. I hope you are doing well as well. Right, let's go straight to the weather, because we haven't properly covered the weather for a good while here as well. Here is the weather. For reference, guys, I'm using the bbc.co.uk/weather map here. Yeah, it's very annoying, Viper Scott, because I literally just posted all the links all over social on Twitter and Blue Sky, and it's completely the wrong link, which is really, really annoying as well. Because I do try to get viewers from outside of the bubble, which is very difficult to do as well. So we'll start in North America, see some of the temperatures there. Very cold in northern parts of Canada there, -31, -29. Alaska there, Anchorage -21 there. In a bit lower down, Vancouver 10, Winnipeg is cold at -9 there, Ottawa at 5, Chicago 6, New York is 9 degrees there, Nashville a nice warm 23 degrees, Denver 13 there, San Francisco 14, and San Diego at 18 there. You got there Miami there, a very nice toasty 27, along with New Orleans at 26 respectively there. Kingston a very warm 29 degrees, with Mexico City 21, Guantanamo City 24 there, San Jose at 27. Parts of South America, parts are as hot as 35 degrees in some parts there, with some temperatures as low as 15, 16 there, with there's also a fair share of tropical rainstorms. Brazil's capital, Rio de Janeiro, at 28 degrees respectively there. Have a look on the African continent there. We've got Lagos 29, Kyrgyzstan at 27, Windhoek at 22 there, with some scattered showers here and there on the continent there. Cape Town 21 degrees respectively there. Crossing over a bit to the other side of the planet here. Auckland still 14 and 13 degrees respectively in New Zealand at the moment, so temperatures are pretty okay. And Australia, Perth 24, Melbourne 15, Brisbane 21, Alice Springs 21 there. Darwin, a very hot 27 degrees with with the usual rainstorms in and around these areas. You got Singapore there at 26 as well. Philippines 25, Bangkok 29, Yangon 25 there. Shanghai 8 degrees there, and Beijing -2. And Tokyo there with some snowstorms there at 5 degrees there for reference. New Delhi 22 degrees there. Middle East right now is not looking very good, obviously for all the wrong reasons. The temperatures right now, not really something really people are talking about right now. Tehran is 9, Riyadh 12, Baghdad 14, Cairo 17, Kuwait City 17 there. Tripoli there at 22 degrees. Just scroll a bit more here. Our friends over in Iceland at 1 degrees there. Let's have a quick look at Europe and see what temperatures are in Europe here. Madrid 15, Lisbon 17 there, Tunis 16, Parmelo 14, Rome 14, Nice at the south of France at 15 degrees there. Mainly dry from the looks of it here. Just for reference, this is at 6 o'clock today is what the BBC reference here as well. Bern 9, Paris 14 there. A bit more further over, Athens we have at 15 degrees. Istanbul 8 there, Tarija 14, Bucharest 6, Chistu 6 there, Zagreb 12, Vienna 12. Prague is at very chilly 7 degrees, and Berlin there cold at 6 degrees there. Warsaw there at 4 as well. Kiev still very cold, not as cold as it has been, but still 5 degrees is still very, very cold for them. Moscow there at 1 degrees, Volgograd -1, and St. Petersburg 1 degrees there. Oslo there at 3 degrees respectively there. As we come to the UK there, Brussels there out on the outskirts at 13 degrees. As for the UK itself, this is what we are looking at today. So most parts of the UK today are going to be nice and dry. Here you can see here temperatures very, very not too bad as well. Temperatures as high as 13 in some parts, and even 11 up in the north in Scotland there, where some of you guys are here. We can see at 3 o'clock temperatures going to be even higher. So it looks like some nice, decent temperatures as well, and nice and dry as well. So temperatures as high as 16 there, with some scattered showers around the top. But again, most of it's going to be dry. Even as we get into the evenings here, most of it will be dry. Most of Ireland is also going to experience a nice dryness as well, which is also a nice change for them there as well. Going overnight here, but though that rainstorm is going to hit parts of Northern Ireland and Ireland respectively, as well as parts of Scotland. Temperatures aren't going to drop too badly here overnight here. Temperatures as low as 7 degrees from the looks of it here. It's still pretty decent temperatures here as we go through, looking into the next day here. It looks like this rain kind of sticking around. It's not really hitting the much parts of the mainland here, though. Thank you, Viper Scott, for £2 super chat to get the goal started. All hail DPR. Yeah, thank you so much for that, my friend. Appreciate the super chat. Thank you for your support. I really appreciate that. There. Just going a bit further on into lunchtime tomorrow. This is what we're looking at here. Again, looks like it's going to be another dry day. Most of the UK parts of Scotland may get some showers here and there, but again, temperatures aren't going to be too bad. In Ireland, though, in Northern Ireland, the temperatures are staying pretty low for them, unfortunately, as well as the rain there. But for the rest of us, it's actually going to be not too bad. They're forecasting some snow in parts of the Highlands and the high Alps in parts of Scotland. There is what they're forecasting late on afternoon Thursday there, around 3 o'clock. So keep your eyes out for that, depending on where you are living there. If we go a bit further on, we can see some of that rain is actually going to start hitting parts of Northern England as well as into Scotland there, and parts on the coast of Wales. It's also going to be hitting that there. And then a bit later on in the evening, that rain. So you are going to get some torrential rain on Thursday. Unfortunately, most of Scotland is going to experience that. Parts of Northern England as well as parts of Wales is also going to be experiencing that rain there too. Just having a look overnight here. This is what we're forecasting overnight. So it looks like the temperatures are going to drop off a cliff in some parts. Yeah, Edinburgh is going to drop all the way down to 6 to 5 degrees here. Going to drop even as far as down as 4 here from the looks of it there. And as I said, temperatures there as low as 3 and 4 degrees respectively there. Looking overnight here, yeah, it looks like they're going to drop even further. Wow, massive drop in temperatures in comparison to what we're going to be experiencing here. It looks like overnight on Friday here, temperatures as low as 2 degrees in Belfast, Edinburgh 4. Then they're forecasting some possible snow in mid and southern Scotland and northern England there, as well as some showers there. Don't expect that to settle, guys. I wouldn't expect that to settle too much on there. But yeah, Friday morning, there's going to be some very cold temperatures in certain parts of the UK. Cardiff and London getting away with it with 7 and 8 degrees. Manchester at 6 there. Edinburgh, very chilly, 3 degrees there. So even though temperatures going to be, even though weather-wise should be a lot better, temperatures still aren't increasing up yet. But Friday afternoon, temperatures will increase back up here from the looks of it here. 7, 8s and 7s, 9 in Cardiff, London 12. They're going a bit further on. Again, we've got these temperatures here. They're staying roughly round about the same. Not going back up too much here from the looks of it here. And we'll just have a quick look at what we're forecasting into Saturday here. So Friday night into Saturday should be nice and dry. There'll be some showers here and there, but yeah, it looks like going to be very cold temperatures again. Very, very cold temperatures again in certain parts of the UK. So yeah, so this Saturday coming is going to be quite chilly in the early mornings there. But picks back up again for Saturday there. Just have a quick look at what Saturday's saying here. Temperatures London, Cardiff 11, Manchester 10, Dublin 9, and Belfast and Edinburgh at 7 degrees there. So that's what we're forecasting for the next couple of days there. So we will get some showers, possible snow in some places as well in the mid-southern Scotland as well as northern England. But how much of that settles, I don't know. But there will be parts in the Highlands, in the high parts of Scotland as well. We'll experience some snow as well. But as of right now, guys, temperatures are actually going to be pretty decent. But they will start to drop off a little bit depending on where you are as well. So just bear in mind some overnights. It's in particular Thursday night in particular is when the temperatures are going to be dropping off there. So you're going to probably need to put the heating on there just for reference. That is some of the weather that we are forecasting here. Let me just get that setting over there. Witchy Goth, good to see you there. Hope you're doing well, guys. Check out Witchy Goth's YouTube channel. Yeah, it's been a while since I've been on to Super Tansky's YouTube channel. Hope she is doing well. Yeah, put a link. There's a link, yeah, for her channel there. Audio and video, fine. Yep, that's good to hear. Thank you for saying that, Billy, just to be on reference here. Yeah, literally, like, it's super sensitive, this camera, which is very, very annoying. Right, guys, we're going to obviously be going to Prime Minister's questions at 12 o'clock. Until then, let's have a look and see what some of the news is saying. We're going to start with the Associated Press, guys. Obviously, of course, the main story is, of course, the war in the Middle East right now. So let's have a look at the live feed the Associated Press has for us here. Do bear in mind that because it is American outlet, they obviously take some of it with a bit of a pinch of salt. Of course, I just do want to stress that to people as well. Iran moves to pick a new supreme leader, and Israel says he will be a target for elimination. Israel has said, like, okay, well, we'll have to wait and see whether or not you'll whether they will get the new leader or not. They did take out a fair chunk of the family, but they did. But we'll have to wait and see there. So it's saying Canada's leader said the world order is erupting. Shiite leader said in Iraq that attack on Iran is a violation of international law. I agree. It is a violation of international law because Iran did not attack. It was Israel and America attacked, and they basically claimed that Iran was going to attack. You're making assumptions. It was literally based on assumptions. The American media, they're trying to justify this war, which is really, really horrible. Horrible, horrible, horrible. The media in America has been nothing short of diabolical. Expat in Dubai recounts facing high prices in search for safety. Morning ceremony for Kim Gallis has been postponed. Yeah, I wonder why. Maybe because there's bombs dropping on them. A vessel that was sinking off Sri Lanka is one of Iran's newest warships. Israel orders people in villages in southern Lebanon to evacuate immediately. Yeah, because they're going to strike them there. Israel sees declines in launches from Iran. Well, Iran's what they're doing is actually quite clever. They're using their drones, and they don't cost too much to produce for them. So they're using a lot of their drones, while the rest of Arab nations as well as Israel are forced to using. Well, they got their Iron Dome, but they're wasting a lot of weapons are being wasted on drones, which are cheap as chips in comparison to some of the weapons and missile defense systems that are being used some of the Arab nations as well. So it's got here the latest here. Israel steps up attacks on Iranian missile launchers and weapon factories, while Iran fires dozens of ballistic missiles at Israel and launched drone attacks across the Gulf, including hitting the US embassy in Saudi Arabia. Yep, lots of US embassies have been hit. Nearly 800 people have been killed in Iran after 4 days of war. 800 lives did not need to die. According to officials, 50 in Lebanon, again, and 11 in Israel. Israeli authorities said most incoming missiles have been intercepted. The Pentagon on Tuesday identified 4 of the 6 U.S. servicemen who had been killed in the war, saying that they died in a drone strike in Kuwait. So 6 U.S. service members who did not need to die have sadly lost their lives there. In Lebanon, Iran's backed Hezbollah fire missiles at Israel, prompting Israeli strikes. Yep. Trump's unclear war aims. While the initial US-Israeli airstrikes killed Iranian supreme leader, Trump urged Iranians to overthrow their government. Like, exactly how exactly do you expect them to overthrow the government? Exactly. Take up arms and overthrow them? Like, yeah. There's this. I'm gonna make a prediction now. I believe we will have US troops on the ground at some point in this war. I don't know when, but we're gonna have US troops on the ground. That's my prediction. Making that prediction now because as of right now, there doesn't seem to be a way out. British government plans to evacuate stranded citizens. Of course, it does. Anxious Tehran resident is torn about whether to leave. I would probably leave if you can. Qatar Airways flights grounded till at least Friday. So if you're living in Qatar, you're not getting out unless you leave the country and try and go somewhere else. I think most people have been trying to flee to Oman. Correct me if I'm wrong in the chat. I think that's where I've been reading up on where some of them have been fleeing to there as well. US State Department orders non-emergency staff and families in Pakistan, Lahore and Karagali to leave. Yep, Pakistan and Afghanistan's tensions are rising there as well. Iraqi mission groups said it fired drones towards Jordan there. And we saw video footage yesterday. I showed you guys a video footage of them, of the Ministry of Defense intercepting one of the drones heading to Jordan there as well. I wasn't expecting noise to be outside this morning, but for fuck's sake. Would have liked the window open, but it's not. But someone wants to make noise. A son of Iran's late supreme leader is a possible candidate to replace his father as war rages. I thought they already made the decision. I thought they made the decision. I guess that tweet was a lie that I saw. Israel targets Iran's security force and leadership as Iran presses attacks across the region. Remember, it's very important to understand this. It is Israel and the US who fired the first shots. It's very, very important to stress that. Some West African farmers turn to TikTok as part of agriculture changing image. Greenland's sea ice is melting. Fishermen are worried what comes next. Yeah, Donald Trump and the US trying to take over their country for all the resources they've got, unfortunately. Good morning, Jenny. Hope you are doing well. No worries. You don't need to. Everyone's got stuff going. I was late starting anyway on the show here, so I'm the bad one here. This is very good. So, guys, yesterday they had the primaries in Texas. This is very, very good news here. For James Tarantino beat Jasmine Crockett in the Texas Democratic primary. He's very, very good. I like what he says. I like what he's been doing. I'm glad Jasmine Crockett's been kicked to the curb because she's very much more. She's an AIPAC stooge. Or James is not there. And he was. They also tried to silence. They tried to silence him. They tried to silence the interview he had with Stephen Colbert, and it completely backfired, making more people aware of him and making people go out of their way to check out the interview. So I think that played a part. It's not that big, only 100,000 votes per difference there as well for them there. Not really interested in a Republican. I really hope James can take that Texas seat. It's going to be very, very hard to do so because we know what Texas has always been a red state. It's going to be hard, but he's got people behind him. He's got people behind him. What China's response to the US attack on Iran says about its foreign policy. Actually, there was something that was very fascinating I was watching on from Breaking Points yesterday. Actually, I think it's worth sharing with you guys. That's Breaking Points on youtube.com/Breaking Points with Crystal and Saga, which I think made a very good point that the US do not have unlimited missiles and whatnot to continue to bomb Iran, and they may have to look to getting those weapons and whatnot from other places, such as, I don't know, Korea, South Korea, Taiwan, in order to help continue this there, and it could give an opening for China to invade Taiwan possibly there, which is very concerning indeed. US soldiers were killed in Iranian drone strike. Yep, we know about that. Congress taking first votes on Iran war. A debate rages about US goals. It's a fucking joke. Excuse my language, but I have to say that, guys. The Congress, everyone in Congress should be kicking off saying that this war is illegal. We should not be in this war. We did not vote for this. The American people did not vote for this. Politicians did not vote for this. Why are we having this war? That's what the vast majority should be saying. There are one or two politicians who are calling it out for what it is, but there are some who are kind of sitting on the fence with it all. And they should hang their heads in shame. Especially some of the Democrats, some of the top Democrats like Chuck Schumer and whatnot, and saying, where's the legal process? Why are we not going through what we want to look at the legal proceedings? And it's just like, dude, this is illegal. You know it's illegal. Call it out for what it is. But obviously we know that they're yeah, it's just pretty insane. Crockett tells supporters at watch party she won't be returning to speak after confusion at the polls. Wow. Why would you not want to speak to the viewers after the result? Like, just accept your defeat and just, you know, get on the podium and just say, like, sounds like a bit of a sore loser there. I'm done. Hillary Clinton reacts to Bobrette's leaking photo during the Epstein desperation. Yeah, look, like, I know that the Republicans are desperate to smear Hillary and Bill Clinton. I mean, Bill Clinton obviously deserves everything that. You know, I don't know what we can be done against Bill Clinton because he's an old man at this point anyway. But Hillary, as far as I'm aware, everything that I've read and heard, she hasn't done anything wrong with regards to the Epstein files. Obviously, if someone shows me otherwise, my position will change there. Any other stories here from the Associated Press? 1865, Abraham Lincoln's final inauguration. There. Tourist students is different, says Mel there, referring to something, a separate conversation now I think you're referring to there. Right, let's have a look at Al Jazeera. They'll obviously be covering this left, right and centre. So, Tehran fires back at Iran, Lebanon attacked, France downs drones over the UAE. So yeah, we've got France obviously out there with their fighters trying to stop drones and whatnot getting through as well. US and Israel set up attacks as war in Iran engulfs the region. Zimbabwe child waste pickers work hazardous jobs to help their family. What is this story? Boys as young as 6 scout for scrap metal to sell in a country where 14% of children have jobs. Wow. On Drizzly Sunday in Zimbabwe's capital, 3 boys between age 6 and 9 scout for scrap metal just as the informal wielders in Sengo's market are about to close for the day. Only next day, the boys return to the informal steel fabrication market, which is now partly turned a collection point for discarded metal components to pick up for scrapping for reselling. We are only afraid of the dogs that can chase you, but we're usually safe. No one suspects us of stealing, says the 8-year-old. Sometimes they allow us to pick up scrap whenever they have something they no longer want. Stops by roadside to buy donuts with the previous day earnings. He keeps some for his older sister back at home. Diabetic in council-run apartments were also plagued by a bedbug outbreak last year. Sisio is located near Melbourne, a low-income neighbourhood just south of the city centre. Busy activity, scrap metal pickers, mostly unemployed, people from poor backgrounds in search of discarded metal. Waste pickers carrying sackfuls of scrap metal, while those with bulky supplies use hand-push carts to carry up to 1 tonne. While adult waste pickers are mostly involved in plastic and bottle recycling in Zimbabwe, children like Taziliwa, hope I pronounced it right, have also joined their way into the scrap trade, rummaging for anything from motor vehicle energy components, metal cut-offs from fabrication or copper and brass coated plates. They're desperate for money. If they're not in school, this is what they're just trying to make something money for themselves. This is terrible. This is despite the country's child labour laws that prohibit employment for children below the age of 16. And his friends usually go to Cisco before going off to school, scrolling. So they do go to school, scrolling around the wheel in fabrication yards, which the care field. Trays and dealers, my scrap. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't. I'm not sure if I kind of like this. This is some of the stuff that apparently they're picking up here. Waste sites and whatnot. Yeah, it's not nice. I don't think they should personally be doing it, especially at their age. Especially at their age, you know, touching some of that kind of stuff. I think that's a bit dangerous personally. How long can Israel sustain a military conflict with Iran? That's a good question. Israel attack on Lebanon kills 11, striking hotels and residential areas. Once again, more innocent Lebanese people have died as a result of Israel there. Of course, Hezbollah's proclamation did result in there. Israel threatens to kill successor. The IRGC said Iran in complete control of Strait of Hormuz amid the Trump's threats. Yes, so there was a tweet last night from post from Truth Social last night. President Donald Trump has promised to use U.S. taxpayer money to guarantee ships going through the Strait of Hormuz will be protected by U.S. Navy forces. Apparently, not sure how that's going to work, but I certainly wouldn't want to be a crew member working on that, even if I was offered a lot of money, with the very high chance that we still get basically being posed in the middle of a war. Yeah, I'm not sure about that. Donald Trump is desperately trying to kind of like he's gonna do something about it. Have they got the tweet here? Have they got the tweet from Trump? No, they haven't got the tweet from Trump there. Let me see if I can find the tweet for you guys, just out of curiosity, because I do think it's important there. Martin Harrow, good to see you there. Hope you are doing well. Billy Koshaw says, I've had the flu for 10 days now. I'm sick of it. I'm sorry to hear that. I hope you get better soon, Billy. Iran, get your CVs in. It's only a temp job, says Ellie. Bad morning. It's going to get worse, but what it was never trust the living. Yeah. DJ Marty Moo, good to see you there. We'll tune in later for PMQs. No worries, no worries. Let's find there's normally a Twitter account that just repeats what Donald Trump really says. Bum, 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 bum. Where is Trump post? Come on. Well, don't give me all day. I've got other stuff to look at. Oh, can't find it. Christ. Well, that's annoying. Okay, let's switch to look at some other news anyway, guys. I'm not going to spend too much time on it because we do want to look at other stories as well here. Let's see what NBC News is saying. Congress briefed on overwhelming wave of strikes in Iran. White House officials described a large escalation in attacks ahead, according to lawmakers here. What do we know about the US service members killed in the Iraq War? I'll tell you what it is. They did not need to die. That's the simple answer there. Formula One Revolution, biggest storyline to watch as 2026 began. Trump administration could order US manufacturers to make more munitions amid the Iran war. Yeah, because that's definitely gonna help the situation, guys. Iran strikes risks more voter frustration on the economy with rising gas prices. Like it's almost like NBC News are trying to pin what is happening in the Middle East fully on Iran and not Israel and the US who struck first. Just putting that out there, guys. It's really, that context really matters. Trump administration could order US manufacturers to make more munitions. MAGA wrestles with Iran first launch strike by America first president. It's not America first president, Israel first president. Advanced anti-war posture collides with his views on Iran. Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Iranians demand answer after strike on elementary school. Yep, I don't know. I'm assuming that was Israel. I don't know if that was America. But yeah, it's really important to stress this. Yeah, Iranian authorities said that 168 people, many of them children, were killed in a strike in an elementary school. Why did this have to happen? Like, what was the purpose of striking in an elementary school? The mother, who asked not to be identified, said she only just dropped her boy off and couldn't leave immediately since the parents had to see job as midnight. Then the earth shook and she ran. It was too late. The airstrike hit the school. By the time we arrived in skies, entire school had collapsed on top of the children. People were pulling out their children's arms and legs. People were pulling out severed heads. 4 days later, grief and outrage grew over the school deaths, have become a flashpoint for opposition to the US and the Israeli strikes. There's also anger and uncertainty over the fact that no one has admitted responsibility for the most publicized civilian casualties since the start of the war. Do I think that America is capable of doing this? Yes. Do I think Israel is capable of doing this? Yes. Do I know who is responsible for it? No, we don't know. But both of them, both nations and its leaders need to hang their heads in shame with this, because this is absolutely disgusting. See, imagine this. Imagine if this was the United Kingdom being a part of this, like actually engaging in strikes inside Iran. Imagine one of our strikes hitting a school, like just the very thought of that. It's just absolutely horrible situation. Children, guys, children. And we've talked about on this channel many times about the children who have starved, who have died, who have been left with nothing, killed off in Gaza, Palestinian children, all because of who they are, Israel, and how they have treated them there. I haven't heard. I've been trying to look for stories on Gaza. They've been very quiet on Gaza, and I don't like that because of what's going on at the moment. I don't like it at all, guys. I'm worried about it. Yep, James Tarantino wins Texas Democratic Senate primary. Hopefully he'll go all the way. Obviously, we'll have to wait and see there. US allies in Middle East denounce Iran's attacks. Incumbent under pressure as House members face relentless voters in primaries. Yep, a lot of people are going to be very anti-war. There'll be some Americans who support it, but the vast majority are not in favor of this war. Rosemary, good morning to you. Hope you are doing well. Voters in confusion in Texas routed in conspiracy theories about ballot counting. Of course, they would try that kind of stuff. Republican Dan Kershaw loses in Republican primary challenger in Texas. Incumbent under pressure as House members face relentless votes in primaries. Yeah, I think the Iraq War is going to play a role in that. If elections are going to be suspended or paused in any way, shape, or form. Noam doesn't retract calling U.S. citizens killed by immigration agents domestic terrorism. Yeah, she was speaking to the congressional, speaking yesterday, day before. I haven't seen too much of that. We might get some clips for that for tonight's watch along there, but yeah, I'm pretty sure. I don't know if she would be as bad as Kristi Noem was as bad as Pam Bondi. I don't know if anyone can tell me in the chat. ChatGPT's health under tirade half of medical emergencies in new study. Researchers test different scenarios found. The chatbot said it was okay to delay care in many cases in which doctors would send patients to ER. Don't ask a fecking AI about your health. Do not ask AI about your healthcare. Don't. US Ecuadorian forces launched joint anti-drug trafficking operation apparently there. Ecuador's defense ministry is working with the US in an offensive operation that US Southern Command said will want to combat illicit drug trafficking. Okay. Generally mean this. Hope it goes well. Larquist admits to visiting Epstein Island, but assures there is nothing untold. Yeah, sure. Head of California Democrats call for governor's candidates without viable path to drop out there. Any other interesting stories here? Not really from NBC News. Let's have a look. I'll have to pull up some more feeds in a bit here as well. Yes, Noam was very bad. Outright lied in it. What a surprise. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. Yeah, we might get one or two clips for tonight from there as well. So have a look at, let's see what Euronews is saying, guys. It's been a while since we looked on their feed here. Obviously, main live feed, Israel strikes Tehran. What else they got here? Middle East war shows Europe must reinforce its autonomy. Yes. Yeah, we need to do more. And I'm very concerned about the fact that Ukraine is being pressured to allow oil and gas to run through its funnel networks in the country to Europe. They're putting Ukraine under pressure to do that because of what's happened here with the Iran war. It's really, really bad because this will greatly benefit Russia. Virgin Atlantic resumes scheduled flights, Dubai to London flights, apparently. Everything has been knocked out in Iran, Trump tells reporters. Macron launches first evacuations and boosts defences in region. Tehran vows to strike European countries if they join Iran war. Why Europe needs a payment system beyond MasterCard and Visa, so that we're not relying on the US dollar. That's a simple answer. That's a very yeah. We should have our EU should have a separate system. Should not be relying on Visa and MasterCard. Yeah, we definitely should not. We should have our own. Europe should definitely have its own. Would be much, much better. UAE urges US, Israel and Iran to return to negotiating tables. Not going to happen. Iran are not coming to the negotiating table. Excuse me. We can't afford it. EU workers leave Germany despite labour shortages apparently there. Hungarian veto proves the EU needs less anonymity, says the new Dutch PM there. Also got Europe in motion. Gender equality is improving in the EU, but the pension gap persists there apparently as well. Those are some of the stories. Let's just have a look at just Europe, just for reference here. Macron launches first evacuations and boosts defences in the region. We know about the drone attack in the Cyprus base. Orban and Zelensky clash again over Jerusalem with Brussels in between. Russian central bank sues the EU for immobilising £210 billion in assets. Russia are laughing. Because the EU, because the Europe wants its oil and gas from Russia now. Russia are laughing, and I hate it. I absolutely hate it, guys. Any other interesting stories from Euro News? Not really here. No. Some interesting ones there. Let's have a look and see. It's from Middle Eastern Eye, guys. Let's see what they're saying here. So most of the stories they'll have on war in Iran. They've got an exclusive inside Hezbollah's decision to attack Israel and break with the party. Starmer should have stood up to Trump. Now he's complicit, said Peter Osborne piece. Yeah, Peter Osborne is... Peter Osborne, he's a mixed bag. Sometimes I like his opinion pieces and others that don't. We've had the conversation on Monday night yesterday about how I feel about Keir Starmer's response to this all. Assets or liability, Gulf US security dependence under scrutiny as Iran lands blow. This is the worst. So some of you guys may have heard this story, but I've done it as a short anyway. But I wanted to bring it to attention to you guys here in the chat already. So apparently, US troops were told Iran war was announced by Jesus to bring on Armageddon, the watchdog said. Military's Religious Freedom Foundation said it received widespread complaints about Christian nationalist US commanders. Yes, guys, this is about the end times, the raptors and whatnot. Yeah, these Looney Tunes of religious fanatics want you to believe that this is all part of the plan to bring back Jesus, or they're bringing about the raptors. You know, the religious fanatics. You know, the kind of people that believe this so much that you can't talk them out of this in any way, shape, or form. And some of these people are the ones in power. Like, that's how insane it is. So yeah, and troops are being told, yeah, it's because of Jesus Christ. Energy prices soar as stocks and bond markets consider long Middle Eastern war. Yeah, oil and gas is going up. We kind of talked about that late yesterday. Not last night. We did talk about it yesterday on the Good Evening show. Yeah, it's really not good, guys. Labour Together, how McSweeney's shadowy think tank went to war against journalists there. Cabinet Office Minister resigned. Yep, we talked about that a little bit there. His actions sparked concern to make politicians, journalists, civil liberty campaigns about the use of intimidation tactics by those close to government to stifle press freedom. In effect, representing a threat in media freedom in the UK. Nick Tiles, the Index on Censorship. An organisation campaigning on freedom of expression said the attempted to surveil journalists are deeply alarming and not a tactic that we should see in democracy. We've seen a globe of concerning backsliding in democracy standards. He noted that journalists tend to be carny in the coal mine for that sort of declining human rights and democracy. We should be worried about what could follow if there's not a line drawn in the sand. Labour Together, a think tank behind Keir Starmer's campaign takeover from Jeremy Corbyn as leader of the Labour Party, counts as a number of senior ministers among its members. Yeah, and Mandelson there as well. Jeremy McSweeney. The Times ran an investigation into this story back in November 2023, written by journalists Gary Pogwell and Harry York, based on information provided by investigative journalist Paul Holden, whose extensive research into the Labour group is now published in the book The Fraud. Following its publication, Labour Together hired the American public affairs company APO to look into journalists and allegedly use the information to run a smear campaign, falsely linking them to the Russia spy network. Yeah, so they attempted to smear the journalists and those who exposed them there. because they don't want to be exposed. Laboured together. They need to be exposed. BRICS missing in action as war and permanent member in Iran spirals. Interesting. How the blog responds to the war in Iran and repercussions for how the group is seen by members and the world. The way BRICS represent a response to the US and Israel war on Iran, a permanent member will have repercussions for how the group is perceived and understood, not only by its own members, but by the whole world going forward, analysis told Middle East Tonight, and so far the signs are far from encouraging. More than 3 days since Israel killed its leader, more than 550 others. Yep. Iran, a permanent member of the group of 11 countries, joining BRICS in 2024 when it comprised of only the core members of Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. Several other countries, including UAE and Egypt, joining in 2024 and 2025. Whereas every member of the original core, besides India, have released individual statements either condemning or raising concerns about the killing of its leader, the blog itself is yet to utter a word as a collective. Morgi was basically in Israel hugging Netanyahu, making it very clear, seemingly, that there's a much stronger solidarity on kingship between the two leaders. This is going to extend officially into representative bilateral relations officially. BRICS is currently chaired by New Delhi, which is last week upgraded into Israel ties. March the 3rd, Israel condemned Iran strikes. Are they actually going to... So they haven't actually... The BRICS itself hasn't actually put up a statement there. Keep religion out of this kind of politics. Yeah, unfortunately, then the problem is that many people who have those insane thoughts are in positions of power, which is very, very scary indeed. Yeah, we do need to push religion. You know, religion should not be used as a weapon for justification for war, but that it is being used by Israel and America to a certain extent. Turkey, Kurds reject US-Israel designs as Iran in Netanyahu bets on uprising. US stonewalling request for Gulf states to replenish interceptors. Iran's new tactics to force US to reconsider its capacity for plans and analysis piece there. Tehran's IDF clinics devastated by US-Israel attacks as hospitals and homes hit. Yep, hospitals have been hit as well in Iran. What's the reason for them being hit? Just have a look. Any latest stories in Gaza here? Israel seeking permanent demographic change in the West Bank and Gaza, US officials have said. I think these stories are a bit old. I'm not 100% sure. Not superficial support for Palestinians in US surpassed sympathy for Israel. Yeah, a lot of these stories are old here. How old is this one? Oh, this is only a few days ago. Israel closes the Rafah crossing and all other checkpoints in the West Bank and the Gaza Strip. Literally, like, there was pressure on Israel to open them, and then they finally opened the Rafah crossing, and now they shut it a couple of days ago. Closure restricting Palestinian movements came on the morning the US-Israel attacks on Iran. So they closed the Rafah crossing. They closed it, Saturday morning on the strikes. The Israeli government, statement added that the decision applies to all Palestinians except those with extended work permits. Claimed the closure of the work in Gaza wouldn't affect the humanitarian situation on the Strip. Yeah, that's very, very annoying. That is really, really annoying. But some people might argue it's justified because of what's going on right now. Oh my god, reflux. I'll have to take some Gaviscon when we go into PMQs. Let's have a look at the Kiev Independent here. Got about 8 minutes. I've got the feed. The feed is up. Okay. Let me pull the feed to it. Make sure it's live. Yeah, we've still got 8 minutes left anyway, guys. Let's have a look and see what they're saying here. Russia continues to escalate drone attacks on passenger trains, railway infrastructure there. Russia drones hit 2 passenger trains in just 1 day. That's from them today. Trailing in the polls, Orbán goes all in on Ukraine. Yeah, he's telling the Hungarian people here it's all on. It's all because of Ukraine that the country is suffering apparently. Putin, the host Hungarian FM, to discuss Budapest Kiev rift over the Duslia pipeline. Peskov expressed support for Slovakia and Hungary in dispute over the Duslia oil pipeline, accusing Ukraine of blackmail. Yeah, blackmail is right because, might have something to do, I don't know, is, Ukraine's at war, maybe? Russian tanker on fire in the Mediterranean Sea. Moscow accuses Ukraine of sea drone attack. Crimea River is my response. General Staff says Russia has lost 1.2 million troops in Ukraine since the start of the war there. Belgium sets 10 million euro bail for detained Russian shadow fleet. 10 million. Ukraine receives IMF cash cushion as huge funding gap remains unresolved there. Why is the screen frozen? Thank you. Received its first payment. Yes, you can. Yeah, thank you. Received its first payment, 1.5 billion, under the new International Monetary Fund program. The Prime Minister said on March the 3rd, but Kiev is still waiting for the EU to lock in a critical loan that will keep the war-torn country finances afloat this year. Yeah, the problem is Hungary on that one. The IMF gave the green light to a new 4-year lending agreement this week, days after Hungary stalled a European loan of 90 billion euros, intended to cover large shades of Ukraine's defence and budgetary needs throughout 2027. Without it, Ukraine's coffers could run dry by mid-2026. That's very scary. Agreed at a summit in December, European countries still had hoped to give the final go-ahead to the loan. Bucharest said it would block the loan until Russia's oil started flying through the pipelines, which have been offline since late January. Hungarian Viktor Orbán announced that Hungary will set up a joint assessment to assess damage to the pipeline, but the status of such initiatives remains unclear. European ambassadors who have powers to make progress on the loan will meet next on March. There's no indication of whether the 90 billion euros will be discussed. That's not good. What else we got here? At least 3 people have died, 30 injured in Russian attacks over Ukraine in the past day. At least 3 people have been killed and 30 others injured in Russian attacks across Ukraine over the past day. Local authorities said on March 4th. Remember, this is happening, even though, yeah, all the talk is about what's going on in the Middle East and Iran. You know, remember, there's still this conflict here, as well as Sudan, as well. There's still clashes in Myanmar as well, parts of Africa as well. It's important to remind ourselves of these guys. So Russia launched 149 drones at Ukraine overnight. The Air Force said, reporting that Ukrainian air defenses intercepted at least 129 of them. At least 19 drones evaded defenses and struck 15 locations. 4 debris were recorded at one location. 45-year-old man was killed and 7 civilians, including a 7-year-old girl, suffered injuries in Karlovy blast. In Donetsk blast, a Russian attack on the city of Slovenia 6 killed 1 person, while separate strikes across blast injured 5 people there. In Sumio blast, a 48-year-old man was killed as a result of multiple launch rocket systems, MLRR strikes as well. In Kherson, Russian forces target 32 settlements, including the regional centre of Kherson, injuring 15 people there. They still can't get across that river. They're holding the river very well. Ukraine there. Zaporizhzhia blast, Russian strikes killed, injured 2 people in the past day there. Governor Ivan has stated there as well. So those are some of the strikes that are taking place there. Any other stories here with regards to Ukraine? That one's a short video coming out tomorrow or later on today. Tomorrow, they're coming out tomorrow there. So some of the stories there about the conflict in Ukraine. Let me just have a quick look at the feed. Still got a couple minutes before it gets started. We'll just have a look at Africa news. We might look at one other feed as well, just for reference here. Gaviscon is gross. Our oil frame describing it in detail. Just gross as person impersonator. Yeah, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not like this Gaviscon I got given is not as good as the one I had. That is not as good as the one I had before. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure you guys have recommended other things, and I've just not read them, so I do apologise. Thank you, Viper Scott, for another £2 super chat. Tickle that like button, yeah. If you're on YouTube, guys, if you can, please hit that like button, share and subscribe, all that stuff. Leave comments down below, be greatly appreciated. Thank you for everyone being here. I do appreciate it. PMQs will be starting shortly. Let's have a quick look at Africa news before we head over there. UK will no longer issue study visas to nationals from Cameroon, Sudan, Myanmar and Afghanistan. That's a short video coming out on Saturday, but yes, the Home Secretary cutting more study visa times, so making our universities and even more broke, even more struggling to bring in money as it is. Yeah, make it more harder for them. That's definitely a good thing, guys. You can tell I'm not being serious there. Qatar shuts down 2 energy facilities after being damaged in Iranian strikes. Ethiopia will not go to war over sea access, apparently, there. France deploy aircraft carrier to the Mediterranean to protect shipping there. Lebanon counts the dead and wounded Israeli airstrikes there. At least 6 dead after a mine shaft collapses in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo there. I've got that as a short video there. Absolutely terrible story there. Sudan's government says drone attacks came from Ethiopian territory, apparently claiming there. Somalia's drought leave 6.5 million on the brink of a hunger crisis, says the ICRC here. Somalia is teetering on the brink of the worst humanitarian emergency, according to the International Committee of the Red Cross, which has warned that 6.5 million people are facing acute hunger as prolonged droughts devastate livelihoods. Livestock deaths are stripping families of both food and income. We're facing a lack of rain. The livestock, both camels and goats, have now been lost. We now fear that people may fear that people may follow. He said, "I had 500 goats, only 50 remain. I had 70 camels, 20 are left." 2 consecutive failed rainy seasons heightened fears of a repeat of a catastrophic hunger crisis in 2022. As animals die as well as wells run dry, thousands of families abandoning rural areas and moving to displacement camps in larger towns in search of water and assistance. That's absolutely terrible situation. What are we doing? While at the same time, people are trying to argue that we should be cutting, cutting foreign aid, because that will definitely make our lives better, guys. That'll definitely make our lives better, doesn't it? So, yeah, I know it's just really infuriating. Can we just make sure? Can you stay on the live feed, stupid? Just making sure the live feed. Okay, Kemi Baganot is sat down. The Prime Minister is sat down, so it will be starting shortly here. Let me just put that audio on, ready to switch over as soon as it starts. So, guys, we're going to be going into Prime Minister's questions next. So, if you guys were here just for the Good Morning Show, thank you guys for being here. But obviously, going into PMQs now. So, I appreciate you guys staying if you are. Yes, PMQs will definitely be an interesting one indeed there. For sure. And just a reminder, guys, as we wait here, just a reminder, I'll be going live again tonight at 8 o'clock for watch along. We'll be watching along to some clips and videos from X. There'll be plenty to look at there for sure. If not, what's happening in Iran, here in the UK, or over in America, there'll be definitely to give our thoughts and reactions to there. A reminder as well that tomorrow night at 8 o'clock, myself and Graham Price will be looking at, we'll be doing Reform Watch. We'll be covering plenty of stories on Reform Russia. We have plenty. I've already got plenty of stories already to put onto them that we'll be discussing for sure as well. As for the roundtable at the moment, it is just myself and One Angry Pagan and Daily Blase. I don't have a full member yet, but I will be looking to get one soon there. I have no idea if Hannah has done her maiden speech. I have no idea with regards to that here. So I don't know. Does she do it this morning? Is it today that she's supposed to have done it? I can't answer that. So I haven't been looking into that. So I do apologise there. What's with the yellow flower? It is for oh God, I used to wear it myself. It is for Marie Curie, for support of Marie Curie and people who they do work in helping people when it comes to on their where they're terminally ill. They do great work. They do.
Before I come to Prime Minister's questions, and in light of recent exchanges in the Chamber, I'd like to remind members of the need for good temper and moderation in the language that they use in this chamber.
Talking to you, Kemi.
As Speaker, I am not responsible for the specific questions asked by individual members or for the answer given by ministers. So I encourage all members to engage in respectful debate as our constituents would expect. We now come to Prime Minister's questions. Josh Fenton-Glynn.
But if there's no accountability for the language, then what are you doing? It's just empty words at the end of the day.
Number one, please, Mr. Speaker.
Good to see you, brother.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The situation in the Middle East remains serious and volatile. this government will be resolute in our focus, protecting British lives, bringing our people home and safeguarding our national interest. Mr. Speaker, today my thoughts are with the family and friends of Sarah Everard on this very painful anniversary. 5 years ago, I said her death had to be a turning point, and this government is committed to halving violence against women and girls. We are acting in our schools, our police forces, online and offline, to keep women and girls safe, to prevent boys and men becoming abusers, and supporting victims to get justice and closure. Mr. Speaker, this morning I had meetings with ministerial colleagues and others. In addition to my duties in this House, I shall have further such meetings later today.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to echo the Prime Minister's comments on Sarah Everard and the situation in the Middle East. From the sound mixing desks made by Calrec in Hebden Bridge, which brought the world its Winter Olympics coverage, to the valves made by Blackhole Engineering in Brighouse, which bring water to New York City, Calder Valley's specialist manufacturing is recognised the world over. It brings good jobs and sustainable work. But with 1/3 of engineers over 60, the last government left our manufacturing workforce facing an existential crisis. Will the Prime Minister please work with me to make sure that the new Growth and Skills Levy will support good quality manufacturing jobs in Calder Valley and across the country?
Well, my honourable friend is right to champion brilliant manufacturers. Our modern industrial strategy is driving up standards, investment, jobs and growth. And our Growth and Skills Levy ensures we have the skills we need, supporting more short courses in critical sectors, including engineering.
Short courses, shouldn't they be a bit longer for as much information as they should be?
We're investing over £700 million to support thousands more young people into apprenticeships, in stark contrast to the 40% fall in apprenticeships starts under the party opposite.
Kevin Baird, not the Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, can I pay tribute to our brave servicemen and women in the Middle East during this very difficult period? Our bases in Cyprus and Bahrain have now been attacked. The US has taken offensive action to destroy missile launch sites to defend British territory. Why will the Prime Minister not allow the RAF to do the same?
Prime Minister.
He already explained this. Like, are you fucking stupid or something?
Speaker, can I make clear this is obviously an extremely serious situation, and I know the whole country is worried about the potential for escalation. They're worried about the impact on their lives, particularly when they see what's happening with energy. The family and friends of those who are caught in the region will be worried sick about them. And of course, we've got civilians and military personnel at risk in the region. We need to act, therefore, with clarity, with purpose, and with a cool head.
Yes.
The protection of UK nationals is our #1 priority. And we're taking action to reduce the threat, with planes in the sky in the region, intercepting incoming strikes, deploying more capability to Cyprus, and allowing US planes to use UK bases to take out Iran's capability to strike. What I was not prepared to do on Saturday was for the UK to join a war unless I was satisfied there was a lawful basis and a viable, thought-through plan. That remains my position.
Remember, this is really, really important. The Conservatives and the Reform want us to be a part of this war. They want us to be a part of this war. What they are literally implying is they want to put British citizens, British soldiers out there in the Middle East right now to put their lives even more at risk than they already are by us attacking Iran. That is what they are implying that we should do, regardless of whether it is or is not in conjunction with international law. Okay, that is what they are implying. In this situation, I've said this before. I know people disagree with me. on this, but I completely agree with the Prime Minister's decision and what he is doing in this situation. And I think it is an impossible situation, an impossible line for him to toe. Yes, I don't care if it pisses off Donald Trump and the US, because I don't want RAF jets flying into Iran. I don't want our British armed services, our brothers and sisters going into this war, because we did not ask for this war. We did not vote for this war. Parliament even did not vote for this war. There was no say in this. This was something started by Israel and the United States of America, not by us. Yeah, the best thing that we can do in this situation is get as many of our British citizens out of the area, out of these regions, to protect them as best as we possibly can in this situation, while also trying to protect allies from incoming drones and missile strikes from Iran. And people will say, well, we should be striking at those missile sites too. Well, he's mentioned this here, and experts have mentioned this as well. We don't have the same weapons and procurement as the United States does when it comes to striking those targets. So when Kemi Badenoch talks about us hitting targets within Iran, it won't be as precise and as targeted as the United when it comes to the US and their bombers there. Just for the reference there.
That wasn't the question I asked him. Nobody wants to see an escalation. The fact is, yes.
Says the woman that's calling for it.
The fact is, Mr. Speaker, our bases, in case they don't realise, our bases have already been attacked.
And it's also worth pointing out, as far as I'm aware, and please correct me if I'm wrong in the chat, I'm happy to be corrected if I'm wrong in the chat. The only attack I've seen is the one on the base in Cyprus, which was a drone strike by Hezbollah, not even Iran. So unless there's been other strikes on UK on the UK there, I know obviously there was one drone strike heading towards Kuwait that was intercepted by the MOD as well, and one or two other interceptions are there. But unless another UK base has been hit directly by Iran, obviously I'm prepared to be take that back. But Iran are more specifically not specifically targeting us. But I also get the point where blah blah points out is that I wouldn't even let them use our air bases. It paints a target on our backs, and I get that point. I understand that point as well. I get that point. That's a fair argument there.
Iran is trying to kill our servicemen and women. He is catching arrows rather than stopping the archer. That's what we're talking about. Why is he asking our allies to do what we should be doing ourselves? We are, I would say to Labour MPs, we are in this war whether they like it or not. What is the Prime Minister waiting for?
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, let me give a little more detail, because for a number of weeks now, we've been pre-deploying our capabilities to the region. In doing so, we've been liaising very closely with the United States, as the House would have expected. Therefore, radar systems were pre-deployed, ground-based air defence was pre-deployed, counter-drone systems were pre-deployed, and F-35 jets were pre-deployed. Mr. Speaker, that is why, since Saturday morning, multiple F-35s and Typhoons have been in operation not just in the Middle East, but across Cyprus. Further missions were flown overnight, Typhoons defending in particular Qatar, and F-35s defending other regional parties. We're resupplying our air defence missiles today. Wildcat helicopters with anti-drone capabilities will be in Cyprus this week, and HMS Dragon will be deployed to the Mediterranean. And of course, in agreement with the US, they're using our bases to conduct the operations to strike Iranian missiles and launchers. Mr. Speaker, that is the action that we are taking. That is the agreement that we've reached with the United States to protect our nationals.
This is not our war, Kemi. It's not. Nobody asked them to do this. Yeah, it's like it's so easy for us to say we shouldn't be here, we shouldn't be in this conflict, we shouldn't be any part of it at all. It's so easy for us to sit here and say that. And I agree with you guys. We shouldn't be any part of this. You know, I agree. We don't want nothing to do with this. I agree with you guys. I really do. But I'm thinking about our citizens, our soldiers out there right now. But there's something that he mentioned there which kind of triggers a question that that's only just kind of triggered my question. So he just said there that they were pre-deploying everything. That means, in theory, not proven, in theory, did he know that this attack was coming? Were the UK aware that this attack was going to happen on the day it happened? I think they knew that the attack was going to happen. I think them in Europe knew, but they didn't know when. I think is a probably a good way. We were dragged into it. Yes, we was dragged into this. But there is no. Let's be clear, guys. There is no right way out of this. There's no good way out of this either way. And all we can do is kick and scream about how much we absolutely hate Donald Trump and his administration, who, by the way, don't have a plan for an exit strategy whatsoever with this. Because Iran have made it clear that they have no intention of going to the negotiating table after what's happened.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister has read out a long list. It is not enough. He says that we are pre-deploying. The one ship which we are sending, HMS Dragon, is still in Portsmouth. The fact is the Type 45s cannot take out incoming missiles. This is not enough. He's read out a long list. The people who understand know it is not enough. He should be doing more. Yesterday, the Chancellor could have given more money to defence. Instead, I don't know why they're laughing. I don't know why that's funny. Yes, not funny. Yesterday, the Chancellor could have given more money to defence. Instead, she gave more money for welfare. Their priorities are all wrong, Mr. Speaker. Their priorities are all wrong. They can chanter as much as they like. The fact of the matter is that the war in Iran is happening now.
Order. Mr. Bailey, I don't like that. I don't think it becomes you either. An officer and a gentleman, I expect more. Come bed on.
The fact of the matter, Mr. Speaker, is that the war...
I can lip read as well. So please, let's learn something. If not, you'll learn the way out. Come bed.
Mr. Speaker, the country is not going to be distracted by Labour MPs moaning. The fact of the matter is that the war in Iran is happening now. But the OBR say the government won't hit 3% on defence for 5 years. The war is happening now. There is no urgency from the Prime Minister. Why is he leaving the job of funding our armed forces to the next government?
Yeah, I absolutely agree, DJ. Political points going at a time like this is pathetic. Yeah, there should be more unity with regards to this. There should be more unity with regards to this. And it's very disappointing that Kemi is using this opportunity to try and score political points here. And her party can't say shit about defence funding, okay? Because they didn't give anywhere near the amount of defence spending as the previous Labour government did. Oh, I hate this. Let's starve the poor. The fun war. Sarah Davis says, "Yeah, that's exactly what it is, isn't it?"
Prime Minister.
I'm not going to take lectures on defence from the party opposite.
Yeah, well said.
They came into office, and what did they do? They cut the defence budget. They missed army...
Order. Mr. Philp, you've moved from there to there. You're even louder here, so I think twice. Prime Minister.
Not only did they cut the defence budget, they missed army recruitment targets every year for 14 years. They left morale in our armed forces at an all-time low, and our forces hollowed out. That's the words of Ben Wallace, the former Defence Secretary. Labour, by contrast, is delivering the biggest boost to defence spending since the Cold War. £270 billion over this Parliament. And we're doing that because we're focused on what matters. And she's right. The war is, of course, happening now. We have to focus on that. Across the country, people are worried about those that are trapped in the region. And, Mr. Speaker, that is why we're taking action. And I can update the House. That yesterday, more than 1,000 British nationals arrived back in the UK on commercial flights from the UAE. A further 8 flights are due to leave the UAE to the UK today. I can confirm, Mr. Speaker, that the first charter flight is expected to leave Oman later today, and 2 more will come in the coming days. The country really does want to know this. I'm sorry.
Please, yes. Please shut up. You should not be chuntering when families out home aside. That's just I don't care who like, politics aside, this is people's lives you're talking about, for crying out loud.
Family and friends are worried sick about people who are caught out. I will not be put off. I can announce, Mr. Speaker, we will lay on additional charter flights in coming days. British Airways are now laying on an extra flight from Oman, and the Foreign Secretary will have further discussions today. And can I urge all those in the House who have constituents who are caught in this to make sure that they do register their presence, so we can do whatever we can to help them get home safely.
Exactly.
Mr. Speaker, I wasn't asking about evacuations. I was asking about defence spending.
This is where the opposition leader, to look good, says we on this side of the House will support whatever it takes to get our citizens out of that zone. We will do everything in our power to do that. That would be a much better image than just ignoring what Keir Starmer just said there. Totally oblivious. Really, really makes the Conservatives look really bad.
He needs to focus on the question he's being asked, not the statement that was prepared in the bunker. He stands there telling us that he's spending more money on defence. They're saying it. No, he isn't. In fact, they are cutting defence spending by £2.6 billion from the MOD budget this year. And that's why there are no Royal Navy warships in the Middle East, Mr. Speaker. In June last year, he should ask his Defence Secretary for the numbers, because that is what's happening. In June last year, Mr. Speaker, the government promised that its plan for funding our armed forces would be ready by autumn. In autumn, they promised it would be ready by the end of 2025. It is March 2026, and still nothing. So can the Prime Minister tell the House when his defence investment plan will finally be published?
Prime Minister.
Well, I'm sorry she's not interested in how people caught in the region are going to get home.
Yep.
I think for the vast majority of people watching this PMQs, that'll be the single most important thing on their mind.
Absolutely.
They cut defence spending, we're increasing defence.
Keir Starmer just made Kemi look like an absolute fucking idiot, and she looks even more like a fucking idiot for ignoring such a very important thing. There will be lots of people. There will be people who will be watching this Prime Minister's questions, some of them who don't pay attention to politics, who don't want nothing to do with politics, and will be watching this simply to try and get some answers about what's going on. Yeah? And they would have heard what Kemi Badenoch says. That will turn people even more off from the Conservatives. That's really bad for her. Such a bad image. That's so bad for her.
Spending. And we're doing that, Mr. Speaker, because we've stabilised the economy. Yesterday, the Chancellor announced inflation was down, interest rates down, borrowing down, debt down, investment, living standards growth up. Now, I know the Leader of the Opposition doesn't understand that. The Shadow Chancellor clearly doesn't understand that. Although I do have to thank him that in what's been a very difficult week, he provided some excellent unintended stand-up comedy in his response to the Chancellor yesterday.
I haven't seen it, unfortunately.
Mr. Speaker, he doesn't want to talk about the defence investment plan because he doesn't know. He doesn't know what is going on any policy, so he reads statements that are pre-prepared irrespective of the question, and the whole country can see it. The truth is that because they spent money on welfare, there is no defence investment plan.
This is so embarrassing for Kemi. Like this is so embarrassing for her. This is just beyond embarrassing. This is like the Conservatives. We talk about Labour getting hit badly with all these elections coming up this year. The Conservatives are going to get wiped out. The Conservatives are going to get wiped out. They get if you're a veteran or if you're a family member. And and you've been a Conservative member, and you're seeing this kind of language coming from your leader about your loved ones out there, that's really going to put off a lot of even some of the most staunchest Conservatives voters out there are going to be put off by this.
Because there is no defense investment plan, they are not ordering enough missiles. The fact is that this crisis goes beyond defense spending. They can chant as much as they like. They are pathetic, spending money on welfare instead of defense spending. Sorry, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, they're not just pathetic, they are also weak. This crisis goes beyond defense spending. It is also about the cost of living. This war is interrupting the supply of oil and gas. That is driving up the cost of petrol and making it more expensive to heat our homes. Yet he is stopping drilling in the North Sea while importing the same oil and gas from Norway. Does he think that at a time of geopolitical crisis, it makes sense to kill our oil and gas industry and give up that ready supply of energy?
I'm deeply concerned that what's happening in Iran may be an excuse for the Labour government to open up more oil fields. I'm very, very concerned about that. I am concerned about that.
The question of the energy supply right now is a serious question, and we are doing all we can with allies to make sure that that is preserved. And it's vital that we keep trade flowing through the Straits of Hormuz, Mr. Speaker. The Energy Secretary met the International Energy Agency yesterday, and the Chancellor is meeting oil and gas companies today.
That strait is not going to open. Like Donald Trump says, he's going to make sure that they'll get through. Then he's not. He can't keep that promise. Iran Iran cannot destroy America and Israel, so they're going to disrupt the global order in order to hurt them and their allies. And that's exactly what they're going to do. That's exactly what they're going to do. And it infuriates me that we have the Europe desperately trying to get gas and oil now from Russia as an attempt to keep themselves up from what's happening in the Strait of Hormuz.
We're keeping in close contact with our allies and key industry players. Again, I think the country wants to know what we're doing now in relation to what's happening in coming days.
Yeah.
Mr. Speaker, oil and gas will be part of our energy mix for many years to come. But if Ukraine and the last few days have taught us anything, it is that all the time we're on the international market, we are vulnerable to these changes. That is why renewable energy, where we have our independence and security, would take us off those markets and give us the security that we need.
He's absolutely right.
Speaker, the Prime Minister, again, does not understand the energy transition. You do not need to stop drilling in oil and gas to get renewables. This is basic stuff. He doesn't understand his policy. He's got a sea of orcs and goons who have no idea how anything is working at all.
This is all she's got is name calling. All she's got is literal name calling. This is all she's got.
Mr. Speaker. They can complain all they like, Mr. Speaker. The fact is, they are letting down the people out.
Order. You can't do a point of order in the middle of Prime Minister's question.
Mr. Speaker.
Dear, oh dear.
You don't listen to the questions anyway.
Mr. Speaker, the situation in Iran shows this Prime Minister has the wrong priorities. When it comes to defense, it's someone else's job. When it comes to welfare, they find the money. When our bases are attacked, they call the lawyers. When our energy security is under threat, they stop drilling in the North Sea. Mr. Speaker, the truth is, Mr. Speaker, after last week's by-election, isn't the truth that isn't the truth?
Did you get your deposit back after your candidate in the by-election? Oh, that's right. You didn't even get your party's candidate. Didn't even get their deposit back from the Gorton Denton by-election. Oh, isn't that embarrassing, chat? But don't tell Kemi that.
They might not like to hear it, but they are going to hear it, Mr. Speaker, whether they like it or not. Is it not the truth that he is prioritizing his job security over our national security.
Mr. Speaker, I spent the week protecting British lives and our national interest.
He has, I have
Mr.
to
Speaker, moments like this define a leader of the opposition. They can either step up, act in the national interest and show that they're fit to be Prime Minister, or they can expose their utter irrelevance.
Yep.
She has chosen the second.
Look, regardless of what you feel about Keir Starmer, and I've said this many, many times, but Keir Starmer slaughtered her. And Kemi Baganotte shot herself so many times in the foot there. It was absolutely embarrassing for her. An absolute embarrassment for the Conservative Party there. This line is just ridiculous. It is beyond ridiculous. Like, it's just so shallow. So shallow. We should be working together to get people out of there. And she's literally dismissing what Keir Starmer's talking about, getting people home. Like, talk about being so fucking ignorant. Like, it's just diabolical. Like, how on God's green earth do you expect to be a leader or a Prime Minister in the future if you can't even understand that? It's just insane. Absolutely insane.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Can I thank the Prime Minister for his leadership and his cool head on the situation in Iran? Prime Minister, the leasehold system is legalised extortion. Yeah. Last week, I met with dozens of my constituents, their leaseholders and their tenants' residents associations. They're all telling me the same story. Every single month, they're paying hundreds of pounds while their service charges keep skyrocketing. They're trapped between bad managing agents and a system that is broken. Can the Prime Minister tell me what this Labour government is doing to right this wrong once and for all?
Yeah. Prime Minister.
Well, I know my honourable friend has been fighting for her constituents and holding management companies to account. Our reform bill will end the broken, outdated leasehold system and make the dream of home ownership real. Mr. Speaker, we're capping ground rents, delivering transparency on service charges and scrapping the presumption that leaseholders pay landlords legal costs. Our focus is on saving people money and giving them more control of their home and creating a fairer housing system.
Sir Ed Davey, Leader of the Liberal Democrats.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Can I associate myself with the Prime Minister's remarks on Sarah Everard and the need to do far more to tackle violence against women and girls? And can I also associate myself with the Prime Minister's remarks on Iran, as we rightly debate how to make tax exiles pay their fair share? It is absolutely right the government does everything it can to get all British citizens to safety.
Absolutely.
Mr. Speaker, experts are warning that families could see their energy bills rise by £500 a year as a result of Trump's illegal war. But millions of families and pensioners are already struggling to keep their heads above water thanks to years of a cost of living crisis. When Putin invaded Ukraine, he and I campaigned for months to get the Conservatives to act on energy bills. What? This time, will the Prime Minister save families that anxiety and give a cast iron guarantee today that he will not let energy bills rise by £500 this year?
Prime Minister.
Can I thank him for raising this, because I know this will be a concern to the public who are watching what's going on and very concerned about the impact it will have on their lives. It is important that I emphasise the actions we've been taken urgently this week with our allies, with the energy agencies across the world, and the work we're doing to make sure there's safe passage for energy across the world. We will continue to do that. I was glad that we were able to bring energy price bills down by £150 announced just the other day. We will keep a very close eye on this. I do know how important it is for the British public.
Sir Ed Davey.
Well, I thank the Prime Minister for his reply, but I hope he will act if energy bills do go up by £500. Mr. Speaker, Donald Trump's war on Iran has not only brought more chaos across the Middle East, it's increased the threat to our national security here at home. Iran's Revolutionary Guard has previously plotted several failed terrorist attacks in the UK, targeting Iranian journalists, British Jews, and members of this House. Now they are more desperate and dangerous than ever. We've called for the IRGC to be prescribed as terrorists for years. The last government failed to do it, and so has his. So will the Prime Minister table emergency legislation to better protect our country from Iranian terrorists? Will he do it this week?
Prime Minister.
Can I just, again, thank you for raising this. It is very important, I say to the House, that as he would, and the House would expect, we are working 24/7 on dealing with any threats to this country. And I spoke on Monday about the 20 Iran-backed threats that we had successfully dealt with, and we continue to do so, and we're working on it 24/7. So it's important that I say that. In relation to the IRGC, obviously we've put in place a number of sanctions already. We don't comment on prescription, but we have made the case that there needs to be legislation to deal with state-backed terrorist groups, and we're looking into that.
Sam Rishworth.
Thank you.
Regardless of what you think of Ed Davey and the Liberal Democrats, that is how you be an opposition leader. He was far, far better with his questions than Kemi Baganout ever was.
Mr. Speaker, the surge in the global cost of oil and gas has the risk of pushing up food and energy prices, which is a real concern for my constituents in Bishop Auckland, just as we're turning a corner on the cost of living crisis. Doesn't this show the importance of ignoring the parties opposite and investing in secure, renewable energy that we control, and backing our farmers to produce the food for our nation, such as those that I'm hosting here today from County Durham, Mr. Speaker? And will the Prime Minister ensure that both energy and food security are a core mission of this Labour government?
Again, regardless, like, I'm not a fan of this Labour government, as I've mentioned, but you know, this is the kind of stuff, you know, where more than ever we need to make sure that we are looking after and protecting our own interest in this critical situation.
Well, his energy security is critical to food security, and the sprint to clean energy is the only way to get off the volatile international fossil fuel markets, cut bills and deliver energy security. And Mr. Speaker, since we came into office, over £90 billion of investment into clean energy industry has come in, powering millions of homes. Tories and Reform would throw all that away and cling to the failed policy that put everyone's bills up throughout their reign.
Gavin Robinson.
Mr. Speaker, can I associate myself and my colleagues with the Prime Minister in his remarks around Sarah Everard and Iran? Mr. Speaker, my colleagues and I support our armed forces, but we lament how diminished the UK appears over the last week amongst our allies and within the Middle East. The Prime Minister is not responsible for our armed forces being able to squeeze into Wembley Park and to Ibrox, but he is responsible for our posture. He is responsible for ignoring the request to deploy a Type 45 destroyer 2 weeks ago into the region. And we now learn that HMS Dragon will not leave, hasn't left, and won't be in to defend Cyprus for over a week. Will the Prime Minister understand that I welcome the commitment for increased defence spending, but if we're only planning to get to 2.5% by 2027, it's not enough. It needs to be reconsidered. He needs to go faster where others before him did not. And he needs to take these steps not just for protection of our values across the world, but also for the protection of our consumers who are impacted by this conflict today.
It's a great question, and I totally understand where he's coming from. But you know what? Again, I really do stress this. Look, I don't like defending Keir Starmer. I really don't. But he's been right about a lot of this, guys. He has, okay, with regards to Iran. Okay? In terms of domestic policy, he's been shit. We could all agree with that. But in this current situation, I think he's been fairly right.
Well, he'd have heard me set out what we did by way of pre-deployment, working in conjunction with and liaising with the US, so that he understands the context in which those pre-deployments were put in place, and I think they speak for themselves as to why they were put in place in the places that they were. In relation to defence spend, obviously we're increasing it to 2.6% of GDP. That's £270 billion over the Parliament. But as I said in the speech I gave in Munich just a couple of weeks ago, we're going to have to spend more and faster after the years of underinvestment and troop cuts. They were the ones that hollowed this out. They were the ones that reduced the size of the army. They were the ones that didn't spend what was necessary on defence. Like everything else they left in such a mess, we're clearing it up. Through our strategic defence review, we'll make Britain safer.
Jonathan Davis.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Like the Prime Minister, I had the transformative benefit of a music education as a young person, although he had his some while before I had mine.
Get on with your question, laddie.
After more than a decade of declining music in schools, the government's new National Centre for Arts and Music Education and measures coming through the curriculum review will ensure that more young people benefit from the opportunities that my right honourable friend and I both had. So can he tell us, how will the new National Centre make a difference for our young people? And what is the government doing to address funding shortfalls currently facing England's music education hubs, including mine in Derbyshire?
He actually loves the backbenches, Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, my life was changed by the opportunity to study music, yes, very many years ago. I believe that every child deserves that opportunity. The party opposite cut those opportunities. That particularly excluded poorer children. And now they call creative arts courses a dead end. I totally disagree. They're the lifeblood of the creative industries that showcase Britain around the world. And the new National Centre will launch this year, and Labour is investing in music hubs so every child has the same opportunities to enjoy music, to learn music, and to learn the skills that music brings them for life.
Gagan Mahendra.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. In my constituency, the Lib Dem-run Three Rills District Councils failed for years to submit an adequate local plan. They now have a ministerial direction, and prime Greenbelt land faces a serious threat from this government's harmful planning policies. How does the Prime Minister expect me to explain to my constituents that while I consistently defend our Greenbelt, the Lib Dems' incompetence has made it vulnerable to its destruction by this Labour government?
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, this Labour government is changing the planning regulations so that we can get on and build the homes that we need across our country. Their failure was the failure to do so, but I must applaud him because at least he's had the decency to accept some of the failures of the last government. On Send, he said, my government didn't do enough on this. It's awful. And he said his party should hang their heads in shame. He's absolutely right about that.
Dr. Rosanna Arling-Khan.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. The suitability and financing of temporary accommodation needs addressing urgently. Children arriving on my shifts in A&E with breathing problems due to mouldy rooms in their temporary accommodation has become a grim reality.
Terrible.
And since 2019, 74 homeless children have died due to the conditions of their temporary accommodation. And meanwhile, councils are facing a £4 billion black hole funding hole, huge hole, if the government subsidy remains frozen. Every death is a tragedy, and I'm sure the Prime Minister will agree with me that an urgent review needs to happen to investigate the financial shortfall and help guarantee safe homes for every child in this country that is in temporary accommodation.
Well, I thank her for her question. We inherited an appalling situation with a record number of households in temporary accommodation. Every child deserves a safe and secure home. Mr. Speaker, we're investing £950 million in the Local Authority Housing Fund to increase supply of quality accommodation. We're banning Section 21 no-fault evictions, introducing a new, stronger, decent home standard, and investing £39 billion to deliver the homes that families need.
Forster.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Last month I visited my old school, Woking High. I saw classrooms built in the 1960s that were meant to last 20 years, but are still in use and being held together by gaffer tape. I visited my old music classroom. I nearly fell through the floor and I saw a hole in the roof. I can still remember the stench of mould. That classroom was condemned last year. please will the Prime Minister agree to come to Woking High with me to see how bad it really is and ensure that my old school urgently gets the financial support it needs to ensure that in the 21st century my young constituents can be educated in a school they deserve.
Yeah. Absolutely terrible situation for him and his constituents, and we've spoken on here in the past about schools and the building and that so many schools not just dealing with the retro autocratic concrete, the material that breaks very, very quickly, because that's broken down in many schools, because we know that there are lots of schools in this situation, but yeah, we've had children just not being in suitable accommodation in England in particular as well. This is a major crisis that needs to be really needs to be getting on top of. I do think Labour are tackling it. Obviously, it's how fast they are tackling it, I think is a good question. It's the question there. Viper Scott, thank you so much for the £2 super chat there. Just to get to the goal, thank you so much, my friend. Just two more. If anyone wants to contribute towards the super chat goal, would be greatly appreciated. Chatty Rat, it's good to see you there. Hope you are doing well. DUP's Gavin Robertson doesn't care about Cyprus, but just as costly and Scalia. Thank you for sharing that, Chatty Rat. I appreciate that. I mean, it does come across that he cares and authentic, but yeah, I'm very skeptical I'm also a little bit skeptical as well. But he is right, obviously, about what he says. But obviously, there is skepticism about what people say as well. Most of the schools, the states in Scotland have been rebuilt or refurbished in the last 19 years. DJ Martin, yep, they have, because Scotland knows how to manage their budgets, whereas we not only have we not been able to manage our budgets here in England, but we also cut our budgets, which has also made things worse for us as well.
Can I thank him for raising this case, which will be a real concern for his constituents? And I'm sure the party opposite will have heard the reality of what they did over 14 years of destroying everything in this country. We are fixing that, and I'll make sure that he gets a meeting with the Relevant Minister to discuss further.
Lynn Stewart.
Mr Speaker, after decades of failing policies under both Conservative and SNP governments, I welcome this Labour government's major drive to get young people earning and learning. In my constituency of Ayr, Carrick and Cumnock, by working with Ayrshire College and the Pride and Place Board, we have finally a chance to break this cycle and bring real youth-focused regeneration to our high streets through the DWP Youth Initiative. Will he meet with me to discuss this important issue, and will he support making Ayrshire a priority for a DWP youth hub?
Mr Speaker, the party opposite left 1 in 8 young people not earning or learning. We're not, and we'll tackle it. More apprenticeships, more career sport, a jobs guarantee to provide paid employment, a youth guarantee to provide more young people into earning or learning, and over 360 youth hubs to help young people access opportunities. My honourable friend makes a strong case, which my honourable friend, the Work and Pension Secretary, I know has heard, and I hope there will be good news for her later this year.
Bacon.
Well, at least he didn't bash the SNP, because I was fully expecting it, but I guess he didn't, guys, which is quite shocking there. Thank you, Sarah Davis, for the £2 super chat. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your support. That's very kind of you. Thank you so much for that. It's very, very generous of you.
Mr Speaker, the United States of America is our most important international strategic ally. Does the Prime Minister believe that his dithering and equivocal response to events in the Middle East this week has made that relationship stronger or weaker?
Wasted question, wasted time. It's the Prime Minister set out his position on this all. You're not helping the situation in any way, shape or form.
Minister.
Mr Speaker, the American planes are operating out of British bases. That is the special relationship in action. British jets are shooting down drones and missiles to protect American lives in the Middle East on our joint bases. That is the special relationship in action. Sharing intelligence every day to keep our people safe. That is the special relationship in action. Hanging on to President Trump's latest words is not the special relationship in action.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. In 2018, this House legislated to allow the prescription of medicinal cannabis for children with drug-resistant epilepsy, a campaign spearheaded by my good late friend Hannah Deacon for her son Alfie. Yet many families are still paying around £1,300 a month due to conflicting guidance from multiple agencies. Does the Prime Minister recognise that this isn't the will of the House, and will he agree to work with me and the Secretary of State for Health to secure a modest £2 million required for an observational study to relieve these families of this unacceptable burden?
Prime Minister.
Hannah Deacon's campaign for her son Alfie was remarkable, and I know how much she's missed, and I thank my honourable friend for continuing to campaign. We are investing £8 million in clinical trials on cannabis-based medicines for conditions like drug-resistant epilepsy, and I want to see patients accessing safe, effective medicines and new treatments as quickly as possible.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The government's proposed terms of reference for the inquiry into rape and grooming gangs are fatally flawed, as victims and survivors have pointed out. They won't address the role that race and religion played in motivating these crimes. They won't lead to prosecutions for those involved in the cover-up. And they won't even investigate all cases, only a select few.
Hold on, didn't you guys launch an inquiry into grooming gangs when you were in government? And the conclusion of that inquiry came under you guys. Did you guys not implement that inquiry? Oh, that's right! You left it sitting on the shelf!
The consultation on these terms ends this Friday. If enough people call for changes, including through groomingangjustice.uk, will the Prime Minister please assure us that the final terms of reference will reflect these concerns?
Baroness Longfield is now beginning the work of the inquiry, with victims and survivors at the heart of the process. Under this government, convictions that are at their highest level ever, we're introducing mandatory reporting on child sexual abuse and putting a legal duty on police to collect ethnicity data. But forgive me if I don't take suggestions from the honourable member who said people legally and settled here should go home to ensure that the UK is culturally coherent. That is a grotesque way to talk about our friends and neighbours, and I rather suspect that her next question will come from her sitting up there.
Well said.
Sullivan!
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. 9 years, 4 months ago, Britain was basking in its success of the Rio Olympics, but each day, month and year since, women have lived with the chronic pain of undiagnosed endometriosis, according to Endometriosis UK's new report. The UK's average wait time for diagnosis has worsened since 2020, with women in Scotland waiting even longer, with an average wait time of 10 years and 2 months. At the start of Endometriosis Action Month, will he commit to reduce diagnosis wait times and end the lost decade for women living with endometriosis?
Well, can I thank her for this and tell her that we hosted the International Women's Day event on Monday, and I spoke to so many women who are concerned about this issue. It is totally unacceptable that women have waited sometimes up to a decade for endometriosis diagnosis. We're renewing the women's health strategy, improving training for doctors and cutting wait times for gynecology services. These will be prioritised through NHS Online or investing in research on how to improve diagnosis and treatment.
You wish on.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. After his inept and failed coup against the Prime Minister last week, Anna Sarwar announced Labour's Scottish new campaign slogan. It wasn't into the abyss, it was rather the inspiring hold your nose and vote Labour. But with the stench of the Mandelson scandal still in our nostrils and the stink still emanating in the Labour Together affair and just the general whiff of rot hanging over this doomed Prime Minister after his hammering at Gorton and Denton, isn't it the case for Scottish voters that some smells are simply too unpleasant to ignore?
Prime Minister.
Anna Sarwar has been asking his party to be honest about the political pressure they applied at the Queen Elizabeth University Hospital and taking the action that's needed to reassure patients and families. This scandal shows how much Scotland deserves change with Anna Sarwar.
The same Anna Sarwar that called for your resignation. You couldn't make it up. You couldn't make it up. The guy called for your resignation. Like, oh, we're just gonna forget I said that. Oh, you gotta laugh, guys. You've gotta laugh. You've gotta laugh. Dear, oh dear. Viper Scott, thank you so much for the £2 super chat. SNP bad again. I know. Apparently SNP's bad. Apparently SNP's bad. Thank you for helping reach today's super chat goal. Thank you for everyone who contributed towards the super chat goal. Very much appreciated there. Thank you, guys. Really, really does make a massive difference. Oh, God. I needed a good joke, guys. That was a good joke. That was a very funny joke from Keir Starmer there.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. In my constituency of Watford last week, several amazing charities held their annual sleep out. They raise awareness of homelessness with people signing up to sleep outside at Watford Football Ground. Over 120 people raised over £15,000 of vital funding, and over 200 attended, including the volunteers. Watford FC Community Sports Education Trust, New Hope, Hearts Young Homeless, One YMCA, Dens and Hand on Heart did a fantastic job. Britain's Got Talent semi-finalists Electric Umbrella were on hand to give a performance to participants. Will my right honourable friend congratulate their efforts and outline what the government is doing to end the scourge of homelessness?
Can I just say, obviously, like, I absolutely appreciate all those charities, all the volunteers and everyone who has helped raise money for this. It's a great thing. It's a great cause. I really do mean that sincerely. But I have to come back to the message that I've made in the past on this channel. And that is, we should not be relying on charities to help the vulnerable. We should not be relying on charities, for these and handouts from people. We should be the state providing for them, not charities and volunteer groups. I really want to stress that. Not taking anything away from the work that the organisations he pointed out have done at all, and the volunteers. Nothing but love and appreciation for it. But it should be the state doing more.
Can I thank him for raising this, because everyone deserves a safe place to call home. And let me pay tribute to all of the organisations working to tackle this. We're investing a record £3.6 billion into our national plan to end homelessness. That includes, Mr. Speaker, boosting the supply of temporary accommodation, record funding for tackling rough sleeping and ending inappropriate use of B&Bs for families, and no-fault evictions, which we know drive people to homelessness.
Yep.
Final question, Zoe Franklin.
My constituent Hannah tragically ended her life using a substance purchased from overseas. Following her death, the coroner issued a prevention of future death report containing specific recommendations. Since 2019, Molly Rose Foundation has identified at least 65 similar cases where coroners have made recommendations to separate government departments. Progress on these issues has been slow, and vulnerable people continue to be left at risk as a result. Will the Minister set out what steps the government will take to ensure systematic oversight of coroners' reports and their findings, and will he support proposals for an independent national oversight mechanism to track trends in preventable deaths and ensure lessons are learnt so that future lives can be saved?
Prime Minister.
I thank her for raising the individual case and the general cases, and reassure her we are working on the very issue that she's raised.
Thank you. Point forward to Katie Lamb.
The Prime Minister
Oh, she's claiming that she didn't say the words that the Prime Minister. She's basically arguing. So basically, what's happened here? So she's asked for a point of order, and the reason is basically. So we heard the Prime Minister make claims about comments that she said, and she's just putting on the record she never said those comments basically, and is asking for a retraction, which Keir Starmer is walking away. So apparently, she never made those comments, is what she's stating. I don't know that. You don't know that, but she just wanted to put that out there. And absolutely 100% agree with DJ Mardy Mood that the best thing about Prime Minister's questions is that lovely fluffy dog on the bottom there. Yeah, that is without a doubt the best thing about PMQs is that lovely dog. We should just have they should all just have a bunch of puppies running around PMQs. That would be much more cuter, much more enjoyable to look at, rather than the badgering we had from Kemi Baggott. Like, I think Ed Davey was very good with his comments. Disappointing, we didn't hear from the Greens. We didn't hear from Reform Russia, probably because they didn't want to talk about it anyway. We had some, I thought there were some very good questions as well there as well. Some very good questions, very important questions in today's Prime Minister's questions. Well, taking out Kemi Baggott there. I thought Ed Davey was very good, very professional with his questions. I thought Keir Starmer's performance was very good today, which is very, very rare, because obviously only a few weeks ago he's been absolutely, he was on the rocks, to be fair. But like, I do think, that he's handling this as best as he possibly can. And I would much rather have him in this situation than Kemi Baggott or Nigel Farage. That is for sure, guys. That is for sure. I obviously, I really think, he's going to be in that position. I don't know if he's going to be. Obviously, like, we don't know how long this war in Iran is going to go on for, guys. Now, obviously, we're into March, and obviously most of the elections are up in May. Correct me if I'm wrong in the chat. Obviously, if the elections go bad, are we going to have a change at the top? While if this war is still continuing on in the Middle East, and I'm not sure if I'm comfortable with having a change in leadership while what's going on in the Middle East would be in the national security, in terms of national security's best interest, because I don't think I would personally want that. But at the same time, we do need a change at the top. That is for sure. And Kemi Baggott should, realistically, Kemi Baggott, she should be sacked. She should be ousted by the Conservatives for that performance alone. Never mind all her poor performances. That was just absolutely diabolical from her. Absolutely diabolical. Okay, guys, I'm going to go and have lunch. Thank you guys all for coming along. Thank you guys for all your comments. Thank you to everyone who sent super chats today. A reminder, I'll be live again tonight at 8 o'clock for a very important, very big watch-along live stream tonight. There's going to be plenty to cover for it, so do join me for that show if you can. If you can't join me for it, I'll be back live again with another Good Morning show tomorrow at 11 o'clock. Enjoy the rest of the day, whatever you guys are doing. Take care as always, but if you can, on your way out, please hit that like button, share this across social media, consider subscribing to the channel as always. Do check out Rumble and Patreon for extra content along as well there, and we also have a free Discord community you can join as well. So thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to catch you all very, very soon.